President and CEO, former Governor Carl Gutierrez here. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, for your listening and viewing pleasure, the one and only Jason Solis.
All right. Good morning, everybody. And Hafaday and good morning, Gov. Thanks for hanging in there. I know you were kind of like listening in the background, but maybe some contentious times ahead for our friends over at the EPA. Do you have any perspective on what might come before we get into the tourism angle?
I didn't quite understand you. I know you're masked on, but before we get our tourists, what?
Oh yeah, just that conversation about the EPA. Did you have any comments about like about the Marble Cave erosion controversy of late and what might be coming?
I'm sorry, but I was having a meeting while I was waiting.
Oh, no problem. Okay.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention too much.
No, yeah, certainly you do have your hands full, obviously, with the tourism thing, and I'm sure you're quite pleased at the fact that yesterday we reported the first of weekly flights from Korea finally touched base. So wheels down on Guam. We now have the Korean market returning to Guam. How pleased were you, Gov, at the fact that we now have that market returning?
Well, first of all, very pleased, that there are 3 flights allowed by the Korean government to start flying to Guam. And that's, of course, T-Way, Korean Airlines, and Jeju. And the next flight coming in will be Korean Airlines, which has, as of 3 days ago, booked over 80 people already. And then subsequent to that flight, then you have Jeju coming in. So the fact that we only had a few real tourists come in on the 52 passengers, it's still a good sign that they're letting them out and that the passengers that are really fully vaccinated are looking at Guam as a place to come to because of the very, very great protocol and the very safe Guam destination that they believe it is. So I think it just takes the airlines to continue the flight, scheduling it so that the people can know that there's a flight that can go to Guam and bring them back without getting stuck here. So it's looking good. We got it started, and that's the way we want to do it. But we don't want to forget Taiwan either because another flight came in yesterday with 155 passengers. And so we're still pursuing that to hopefully get them to do a regular scheduled flight instead of charters. And after I speak with you here, I'm setting up a Zoom call with the Minister of Tourism, Cultural, and Resources in Palau, Nirai Matul. And I'm offering, as I did to Taiwan yesterday, a protocol where there could be a symbiotic relationship with Guam and Palau. Because Palau has been looked upon as a very, very much safer destination and a lot safer for them to come to Taiwan and not go through the government quarantine for 15 days and spend at least $2,300, those hotels, but are allowed to go home and have extensive monitoring. So we're trying to get on that, and we're trying to get this relationship with Palau where maybe some of those chartered flights coming in, because remember, Jason, that they did a bubble before. It didn't last until, maybe a couple flights only because there was a lack of the back and forth and expensive. So now we can tie Guam in, and if we can get people from EVA Airlines to drop some passengers here, and if some want to go to Palau, they can go to Palau, and then from Palau back to Taiwan, so that we can work out that quarantine, that less at home, and that will give the Taiwanese a lot of hope that they can get on that flight without coming back for a 15-day self-paid quarantine. So that's what I'm working on this morning, and hopefully that becomes a positive.
Yeah, Governor, I'm curious because over the course of your career, as a senator, as the Speaker of the Legislature, and ultimately as the Chief Executive of Gov Guam, you've seen like a lot of negotiations, and as a head of state, you've done like a lot of brokering, let's call it deals, right, with different governments and different markets to try and sell the Guam product and everything. How delicate were these negotiations or these talks and everything like that to try and get those markets to feel safe and have the peace of mind that when they come to Guam, they'll have a positive experience, and the likes that we're used to with now every other tourism market, hopefully trying to stabilize their own citizens, and basically it's like a foot race now for who can be like the #1 tourist destination, right? Because everything's like, we were talking last year, everything is maybe considered level right now, like Honolulu and Cairns and Sydney and Guam and Tokyo, like it's an open market right now, right?
Yeah, well, it's the deep touch, not and it's not like you're speaking because you're titled and they're titled. It's like after a while you get a relationship, just in conversation. For example, when Taiwan heard about the Airbnb, everybody started jumping up and down in Taiwan, but no one wanted to take that first step to actually charter a plane to make it here to Guam so that people can, because they're not sure how many people will get on that charter flight. But in communicating with my contact there in Taiwan, he got me together with the owner of Phoenix Travel, and over a course of a week, almost like 20 hours a day, we go back and forth trying to assure him we got that communications going. And then he wrote me a letter. He says, based on my feeling and good feeling about what you're telling me, Governor, I'll sign that contract with Eva Air tomorrow and get your first flight out on July the 6th. And that happened, but you've got to let them know you personally. It just can't be a perfunctory kind of a meeting, but a deeper meeting. And so that now has become what it is for people in Taiwan to know that Guam is indeed keeping its word, and whatever we say here, we do, and that's why we go out of our way to do the trolleys, tell them that whatever we promise you, we're going to do, and we're doing, so that we don't let them down.
And that's one thing that you've always, you practiced what you preached, and you said, we're not just facilitating a transaction, we're actually building a relationship.
That's correct, because that to me, Taiwan now is looked upon not only by us but the United States of America as China, America in China, and so they're using us as well as America in Asia, where they they want to kind of flaunt something at mainland China themselves, and the United States has been very favorable to Taiwan in giving them doses of vaccines. And so I'm sure that when they allowed Governor Lou Leon Guerrero's request to move forward for us to give our vaccines here for the Airbnb, they felt that we're contributing to their welfare as well, and that's the kind of relationship that they're feeling. And so it's like a constant reach out and become personal friends.
Sure. Now, I do want to talk about hard numbers, if I may, Mr. Governor, for just a moment, because apparently the data shows that there were over 3,000 packs or seats available on flights from Korea throughout the month of August. So far, only 600 of those have been booked. As the head of GVB, are you satisfied with that as a first run, or were you anticipating the numbers being that way? And then how do you actually get more warm bodies in those seats consistently?
No, actually, to be truthful with you, I was very, very pleasantly surprised at 600. And so now that it's in that area, I believe it can only go up with the advent of the flights already being scheduled and moving. And so we're reaching out with our office there in Korea. Our chairman of the Korea market here, Mr. Ho Yun, has been keeping very close touch with the ministries there, and the ministries of transportation particularly. And he's got a lot of contacts all through the government. All of his classmates are there, that are now running the government. So that constant touch there from us is very, very, very helpful. And I think we have Colleen Cabido, who is watching the Korea market from our office here, and she is in constant contact, and she's doing an excellent job. These are the professionals here, and they have a relationship as well with our contacts there.
Now, certainly, one incentive, let's call it, because I mean it is exactly that, and hopefully a very effective one, is that concept. And there's been some very creative thinking by GVB over the last year about how to actually entice visitors to come here. Would be the notion that $500 voucher cards could be distributed to visitors and everything like that. Is that still a proposal that you're hopefully trying to bring fruition to?
Yes, but it's kind of moved to the back burner a bit, simply because the incentives, the monies we have. For example, we brought the Taiwanese here, but they're stuck at the hotel. There's no transportation. You can't get car rentals. You can't get taxis. So I took some of those funds and say, let's get the 2 or 3 maybe now that I'll do the trolley rental. We'll pay for it and give them that kind of incentive. They get free rides, not only for them, but the residents of Guam and the military, they can get that. But certainly, the $500 incentive is not as easy as just saying we're going to give you $500. We're making a deal with MCB, who is willing to do the debit cards, but takes a while also. We got to buy those equipment to give out to maybe 200 vendors, the hotels, the businesses, to be able to accept those cards. So even at best, if we start to move now, it won't be till probably September 15th. But certainly it has a place in there as we start to move into the September, October, November, December. That's the period that we may want to do this, but we're going to see first what's happening with this jumping on from Korea, because they're really the ones that have moved forward with their numbers in vaccinations, and they're the ones that are really eager to travel, and they know that Guam will accept them, and that we may give the incentive of paying their $150 to $200 PCR test before they go back. That's another way to do that. So we're trying to see where the biggest bang for your buck gets us.
Yeah, I like how you phrase that too, Gov, because obviously the dual benefit of having these vouchers is that actually encourages businesses to continue to operate at a higher tempo than they probably have been over the last year and a half. So on the other side, aside from dealing with, the international tourism representatives and then the visitors themselves, how much outreach has your agency and maybe even you personally have with the businesses and saying, you guys need to reopen, continue to, facilitate as many customers as you can and, continue to get back to that tempo that you're used to?
That's why we work very closely with the Guam Economic Development Authority, who has the purview of giving some kind of monetary incentive to businesses that may take a chance or for their losses. But we can't, push them to open up when they really are not for sure seeing any of the customers around. That's why we did the trolley, maybe to amass them in one trolley, and people walking up and down the streets, just actually seeing is believing. But even at that, they're still not sure whether they can break even or they'll be in a loss. So hopefully the Guam Economic Development Authority and GVB can come up with a relationship where they can sort of subsidize some of our local businesses to open up early.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever asked you this over the many months that we've had you here on the show, but throughout all of the crises that you've dealt with as over the course of your career as a public servant, would you classify this as your greatest challenge?
Well, yes, because I don't have total control. When I was governor, I had control, and now I have to go through a board, whether they're going to allow me to spend money on this or that. So it's a challenge for me, but certainly it's not like you certainly I can get it accomplished, but it's a little bit harder now. But it is a big challenge because I have other layers to contend with, and some of them maybe don't agree with some of my ideas. Whereas when I was governor, that's my edict, and I don't have that quite. But I have enough, I think, to make them realize that maybe they should let me go a little bit and do what I can do best and get results. Certainly.
Well, something that obviously is going to bode in your favor, and that for Guam, as far as like drawing more tourists here, would be that new hotel that's planned at the parking garage that was been basically barren since the big earthquake of '93 and everything like that. So, do you have any direct involvement with the discussions about how that's going to be, or how GVB might shape up in attracting visitors there?
It's been 2 years. I've been to Taiwan a couple of times and work with these people that own the property. I've seen 4 or 5 different renderings on what could go there, but I was assuring them that as the economic development point of contact here in Guam, that I would do whatever I can to make it easy for them to jump through the hoops when they get here to get permitting. So that kind of moved the needle, to move to the next step. And so I'm very happy that some of these properties that are owned, I think there's 13 different properties there, and they had to consolidate them. There's still a little bit problematic ownerships there, but it's moving forward. And they're staying within the trying to be the tallest kind of a hotel concept there. And I've seen, like I said, 3 different renderings, and they all look really great for that particular area. And they even want to expand beyond, and they're asking about certain properties that are They're not part of the 13, but I'm trying to facilitate them when they do get here. I know they've associated themselves here with local entrepreneurs here and lawyers here as well, so that's pretty good. But it's like about 2.5 years, over 2 years that I was there last, and I try to assure them that when they get here that we would do what we can to facilitate their getting the license and permit.
And that particular property, I mean, literally is a stone's throw away from, what's supposed to go on at Matapeng.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, they say, oh, what's that zoo over there? Can we trade that property with, And so they're thinking of everything to make it like almost adjacent to Matapeng, so that we have that symbiotic relationship too, where that can be part of their park, and they can do some upkeep at Matapeng when they actually could adopt it to take care of their 24-hour bathroom facilities, And so there's a lot of possibilities, and I get myself involved in it just so that they know that there's a point of contact here on Guam that maybe can take their concerns to the various departments so that they don't have to run around to 13 different departments.
Okay, and then final question, Gov, if I may. Are there any other properties that you see or that you're tracking and everything like that for either perspective or stuff that, you think would be beneficial to the Guam product?
Yes, they're up there, past this, as you come down to Tangisan, from the AT&T there all the way to the north, there was a really big hotel there. The southern part of the Orunao property of the Arteros, they have already made some kind of a rendering, and it really is a nice area for their big development there. I think it's a little bit of a problem now with one of the family members to do their final signature, but yes, those are two areas that we're moving the next 2 months up to Orunao, on the southern part of Orunao.
Wow.
Not the northern part, because, and so they're even asking they're going to bring in the sewer line, power, water down to that area and have it ready. This is the company that would do that. And they've already gotten gone to TLUC. And so these are the ones that I've been helping over the last 2.5 years.
That's amazing. Like over there, specifically like with Tangisan and everything. As soon as you said that, I know that the AT&T, like the Earth station where they used to have the like the big parabolic satellite.
Going north, and I'm working with one of the facilitators here in Guam, like Frank Ariola. Frank Ariola and I have been trying to figure out how to get his group here to bring some money in here, and so it's a very, very innovative concept of financing involving the government as well. So we're doing everything we can to bring the investors here, but we want to make sure that we don't bring them here and give them a bush cutter to bush cut their way through the permitting process. We're trying to get that thing pretty well laid out first.
All right. Well, Governor, we know obviously you've got your hands on a lot of different cookie jars and everything. Certainly, we do appreciate your time, and we realize when it comes to your schedule, there's not a lot of it, and there's not a lot of free time and everything like that. So we appreciate the insight.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Always nice to let the people know what's going on, and you always have the best questions to raise.
Thank you very much. Always appreciate it, Gov. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Day, you always have the best questions to raise. Wow.
You didn't even get him to say his magic words.
Oh yeah, we did, sir.
Come on.
We can't let you go without saying the line, Gov. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That's how you want to start your day, right there.
Good morning,
Good
guys.
conversation, man.
Yeah,
think about that. A big, hopefully world class.
Let's get Senator Clinton.
Yeah, hopefully world class facility over at Tangisan.
Wow.
And or Orunao. I mean, that's major.
Yeah. 906.
Okay, so we're going to Senator Rijal.
We're going to Senator Rijal.
Okay.
Senator Clint Rijal,
There we go.
Democrat, oversight the chair for the Guam Power Authority, among other things. Senator, thanks for joining us. Good morning.